Sustainability is not an end goal, but definitely a journey towards a better future. And the future will be sustainable or it will not be at all. So, questions like this one: how can we balance economic development with environmental protection as well as social equity? What are some sustainable practices that individuals, leaders, and communities can adopt to reduce the vulnerability to disasters? Disasters remind us all of our vulnerability, but it also highlight the resilience of the human spirit. This is a powerful reminder of the strength and perseverance of humanity in the face of adversity and challenges. While disasters can be devastating and reveal the fragility of our existence, they also have the potential to bring out the best in our lives. We come together as a community, demonstrating compassion and a willingness to help others. Disasters may test our resilience, but they also provide us with an opportunity to grow and learn from our experiences. Ultimately, they remind us that we are capable of overcoming even the most difficult of circumstances, that we must continue to work towards building a more disaster resilient and sustainable future. When faced with challenges, I want to share with you guys this. Mami Mizutori, Assistant Secretary General and Special Representative of the Secretary General for DRR, Disaster Risk Reduction in the United Nations Office for DRR, UNDRR, formerly UNISDR. She said that disasters do not discriminate, but their impact is felt most by the vulnerable and marginalized in our communities. This bold statement emphasizes the harsh reality that disasters often exacerbate existing inequalities and disproportionately affect those who are already marginalized. Whether it is due to socioeconomic status, race, gender, or other factors, vulnerable populations often lack of resources and support that's necessary to cope with the aftermath of disaster, the recovery portion of it. It is crucial that we recognize and address these disparities to ensure that everyone has equal access to disaster preparedness and response efforts. So by prioritizing the needs of the most vulnerable, we can work towards creating a more equitable and disaster resilient society. Some more questions to ask. What are some practical steps that individuals and organizations can take to contribute to a more disaster resilient and sustainable future? There's a quote that I want to share with you guys. We did not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. There is a Native American proverb. Furthermore, there are some questions that we might want to consider asking. What role can technology play in disaster preparedness and sustainable development? How can we ensure that disaster preparedness efforts are inclusive and address the needs of marginalized communities? To ensure that disaster preparedness efforts are inclusive and address the needs of marginalized communities, it is essential to involve all of these communities in the planning and implementation of disaster preparedness initiatives. This can be achieved through participatory approaches that prioritize and participation and co-creation of disaster preparedness plans. Additionally, efforts should be made to address existing inequalities and vulnerabilities that may exacerbate the impact of disasters on these marginalized. This can involve targeting resources to those areas and populations that are most at risk, vulnerable, and incorporating a diversity and the equity lens into disaster preparedness policies and programs. Ultimately, by working collaboratively with marginalized communities, we can therefore create more effective and inclusive disaster preparedness strategies that better protect all of the members of society. I think this is very crucial and very essential and very extremely bold, and we want to take action on this. Disaster preparedness is crucial in ensuring the safety and well-being. It involves taking proactive steps to mitigate the impact of disasters, such as creating emergency plans, establishing evacuation routes, and building resilience infrastructure. Disaster preparedness is not just about responding to emergencies, right? When they happen, but also about preventing, minimizing. It's all about that, the effects of disasters in the first place. On the other hand, sustainable future refers to the ability to human society to meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. So a sustainable future involves creating that balance, the balance that we always talk about between economic growth, social development, and environmental protection. It also entails finding ways to use natural resources in a way that doesn't harm the planet and its ecosystems, ensuring social equity, justice, and promoting economic development that benefits both the people and the environment. Disaster preparedness and sustainable future are really closely linked, as natural disasters and environmental degradation can undermine the sustainability of our communities and the planet as a whole. By adopting sustainable practices, we can reduce the risks and impacts of natural disasters and help create a much more resilient and prosperous and equitable future for all. Questions such as how can we balance economic development with environmental protection and social equity? So, achieving a balance between all of this, between economic development, environmental protection, and social equity, is really a complex and an ongoing challenge, as we already know that, right? I think I have said this enough throughout um, I believe, our up to 10th this year global roundtable of roadmap to sustainability. Balancing economic development with environmental protection and social equity is a complex, ongoing challenge, requires a holistic and integrated approach. Traditional sustainability models that recognize the interdependence of the pillars of, as we always mention, the ecology, economy, society, finances, environment, and how they all of this interact to support a healthy and thriving planet. So in order to achieve a balance between economic development, environmental protection, and social equity, it is very crucial to prioritize sustainability and also this decision-making processes, and to consider the long-term impacts of our actions on the people and the planet as a whole. So overall, achieving a balance between economic development and environmental protection and social equity requires a collaborative and interdisciplinary approach that considers the interdependence of the pillars of sustainability. So it's an invite. By working together, we can create a more sustainable future for ourselves and future generations. And one approach is really truly to promote sustainable development practices that are designed to meet all the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This can involve adopting policies and practices that prioritize environmental protection, promote social equity, and foster economic growth. My recent podcast with topic Saving Our Planet, a call to action for a sustainable future. It's not what you think, by the way. You must listen first. It's basically an invite to taking action for all of us here collectively, from basic individual, right, level to organizational level, where everyone is held accountable to take that steps to aim, achieve for sustainable future by looking at what we already have. The first step towards creating a more sustainable future is really truly acknowledging that we have a problem. Lots of problems, by the way. Lots of problems. Are you ready to take action to mitigate the negative impact of climate change and create a sustainable future for the planet and the future generations? Will you join the call to action and work together to make this meaningful impact in saving our planet? Here's one of my favorite quotes I have shared over and over again throughout our Global Roundtable, especially, which this quote becomes our Global Roundtable signature quote: sustainability in our future. We cannot achieve environmental and organizational resilience in our planet without achieving our personal sustainability. Hold that thought for a second. So what are some practical steps that individuals and organizations can take to contribute to a more disaster resilient and sustainable future? Great question. I want to welcome you to this 11th Global Roundtable on the Roadmap to Sustainability in Our Future. This has been an exceptionally thrilling journey, and we are so very excited to have you join us for what promises to be an inspiring and insightful event, virtual event that is. In past roundtables, we have been so fortunate to host some of the most esteemed speakers around the world in sustainability field and engage in panel discussions that have helped shape our understanding of the challenges and opportunities we face in creating a more sustainable future. So this year's roundtable continues in that spirit as we come together to seek scalable solutions for a sustainable planet. Through these interactive discussions and workshops, we aim to generate innovative ideas and actionable steps, strategies to advance sustainable development across multiple sectors. We are confident that the insights and perspectives shared during this roundtable will help inspire all of us new approaches to addressing some of the most pressing issues facing our planet today. We are so honored to have you with us for this important event, and we do look forward to collaborating with you to chart a path forward towards a more sustainable, prosperous, and equitable future. Thank you again to making this global roundtable roadmap to sustainability in our future a sound success. Thank you again. My name is NickyDare. Glad to have you.